And basically what a unit circle is the unit circle just means the radius is equal to 1. Okay, the definitions and everything are the same. They're just kind of simplified then. So a unit circle typically looks like this. You got a radius of 1. You have an angle. That angle, you can use theta. A lot of times the textbook will use a different parameter like a t, okay, like that. So it's still the same thing. So I'm going to show you how the definitions work in a unit circle and how they simplify this a little bit. So first of all, let's write this down. The sine's definition is y over r. Okay, that's important that you know that. So what would happen is in a unit circle, r is 1, so you just get y. So it's just the y coordinate. So I'm going to show you how to develop the unit circle, and then the sine is just going to be the y coordinate only. You don't have to do y over r because r is already 1. Okay, the cosine is x over r. However, r is 1, so x over 1 is just x. So what happens in a unit circle is the sine is basically the y value, and the cosine is the x value, like that. Okay, and then the reciprocals go like this. Of course, the cosecant is just going to be 1 over y, so it's the reciprocal of y. The secant is the reciprocal of the cosine, so it's going to be 1 over x, so it's just the reciprocal of x, okay, like that. The tangent is y over x, so we can't simplify that at all because x and y are variables. In a unit circle, r is always 1. So basically what you want to get is the sine is the y value, the cosine's the x value, cosecant's reciprocal of the y value, secant's the reciprocal of x, then tangent and cotangent are still the same definition, okay, in a unit circle. And you'll see what I'm talking about down on the unit circle on the bottom of the page. I'll show you kind of what we're going to start doing on this then. Okay, a couple of things you want to know. Unit circle has a radius of 1. We didn't talk about circles in the first part of this semester in this class, I don't think, so, or did we? Did we talk about circles? I can't even remember. Okay, I don't think we did. There's some things we teach in pre-calc and some things we don't. That's the general formula of a circle. So if you replace r with 1, you get x squared plus y squared is equal to 1. So that's the equation of the unit circle. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to show you a little connection on this while it's fresh in my mind. So here's what happens. In a unit circle, x is the cosine. Y is the sine. So look what happens. You get cosine squared plus sine squared equals 1. That's an identity. Okay, all these identities pop out of this unit circle in ways that are a little bit easier. Okay, so here's the idea. This is the unit circle, and you're going to have to memorize this. We require everybody to memorize this. It looks intimidating to students, but it is not. Okay, I'm going to show you basically the idea of how you can develop this. There's also on my videos, I would recommend, if you don't know this well from your past, that you watch the video I have. It's about like 10 minutes that shows you how you create the unit circle so you don't have to memorize it, okay? But it's important enough for this class in higher math that you know how to build that unit circle when you need it. You're in calculus, no teacher is going to give you a unit circle, and you might be in Calc 2 or Calc 3 or whatever, and you're just expected. This is something you retain, okay? And it's important enough that you want to know that. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is, real quick, is this. If I wanted you to find the sine of 60 degrees, or let's say I wanted you to find the cosine of 150 degrees, let me show you how easy it is. What you do is you look at 60 degrees, the sine is the y value, so it's square root of 3 over 2. What I showed you early in class today is how to use a special triangle. You're not going to have to do that anymore, okay? So basically it works like this. It's automatic, okay? The sine of 240 is negative root 3 over 2. The sine of 3 pi over 2 is negative 1, and so forth. So if you do the sine, all you do is look at the y value on the unit circle. The cosine is the x value. So if you looked at 150, the cosine is negative root 3 over two. So it's like boom, boom on this. Sine is y, cosine's x. Tangent, you'd have to work out y over x, and so forth, and then the reciprocal relationships. Okay, so I'm going to show you on the next page how to get these first 3 points and show you how you get this. Okay, and I'm going to show you a little trick on this then. Okay, so here's kind of how this goes. So I want you to start with a 30-degree angle like this, and then we're going to do basically the triangle on this then. All right, so this is a 30-60 right triangle. The sides go 1, 2, square root of 3 like this. Okay, so I'm going to show you where this point comes from on the unit circle then. Okay, and how you can do this. Well, remember, this is a unit circle, so basically what you do is the radius is 1. We don't want the radius to be 2, so we can divide everything by 2, and we end up getting the x value is square root of 3 over 2, the y value is 1/2. Okay, that's that first point that's on the unit circle, and again, it comes from the special triangles. That's why you learn the special triangles, so you know where these numbers come from. Okay, all right, if you do 45 degrees, it goes like this. So if you have a 45-degree angle, then again, you draw a right triangle. This gives you a 45, 45 right triangle, so it's 1, 1, square root of 2. Okay, like that. Well, you want the radius to be 1, so what you do is you divide everything by square root of 2, and then you get this point. So this point right here would have an x value of 1 over root 2 and a y value of 1 over root 2. But if you rationalize that, you get root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2. So what I'm trying to do is show you where these come from. But there's an easier way to derive these. I'll show you that in just a minute here. So that's how you get that second point on the unit circle, because that's where that comes from. And then the third one is 60 degrees. So you have a 60-degree angle, and what you end up getting is you get a 30-60 right triangle that goes like this. So the sides go 1, 2, square root of 3. Okay, then I do exactly the same thing. I divide everything by 2 to make that radius 1 for a unit circle. X would be 1/2. Y would be square root of 3 over 2 like that. Okay? Now I'm going to back up here in just a minute and go to the unit circle, and I'll show you a real fast way to do that. You don't have to do this. I'm just trying to show you where those numbers come from. Okay? So again, they come from the triangles. That's the key thing. Right, now I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the page. I'll scroll back up here in just a minute, but I want to show you another way to look at this. Okay, basically this is all you got to do is this. Okay, when you get these 3 points, notice how the x values go. They get bigger, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what you can do is just kind of think of it like this. The x values get bigger, 1, square root of 2, 3 like that, square root of 3. You have square roots around the 2 and the 3, like that. The y values get bigger. So what I'm trying to do is just show you the simple pattern that's on here. So notice the x value gets bigger this way, as we'd expect. 1, 2, 3, right? How about the y's? They get bigger this way, see? 1, 2, 3. So it's real easy to remember that. 1, 2, 3 that way. 1, 2, 3 that way on y. And just remember that you have square roots on the 2 and the 3, and everything's divided by 2. So to me, if you can figure these 3 points out, then the rest are logical. Okay, this is just negative, the x changes to negative, and so forth. So if you can figure out how to get those 3 points, then it's pretty easy to do them. Okay, all right. The other thing, and you may need to do the video because you want to know all of the angles, and the video will show you how to do this. What you do is, instead of memorizing all those angles and radians, just count. So you can learn to count by pi over 4. You can learn to count by pi over 6, and you can get that. Watch the video, though, because I'm not going to take a lot of time to show you on that. But you can count by the numerator and reduce the fractions and get those angles and radians pretty easily then. All right, so to finish up, what I want to do is just take this unit circle and show you how how to do the sine and cosine. That'll be a good stopping point for today. So it's actually very easy. Anytime I want you to find a sine, all you do is you look at the y value, okay, on the unit circle. So you can do this like super fast. So 45 degrees, the value of the sine is square root of 2 over 2. Okay, 4 pi over 3, find where it is. 4 pi over 3 is here. The y value is negative square root of 3 over 2. So that's what the sine of 4 pi over 3 is. Find pi. Pi is 180 degrees. The sine is the y value, so that's 0. So see, you can do a sine on our unit circle very, very fast. Okay? The cosine is the x value. So all we should have to do on this is just look them up one by one. Cosine of 30 would be the x value, so that would be square root of 3 over 2. 11 pi over 6 is here. The cosine would be positive root 3 over 2. And then the cosine of pi over 2 is 90. So the cosine would be the x value, so it would be 0. And that's all you do on that. So instead of doing like I did in the previous section, where you do the reference angle, the triangle, isn't this faster and easier? Yeah, okay, it's a lot less work. So, I mean, if you can get the unit circle down, then you can do these things super fast, okay? But one of the key things you're going to have to work on a little bit this week is see if you can begin to get that unit circle built. It's not as hard as it seems. Usually you can write the whole thing down in 5 minutes, okay? Okay, so that'll wrap us up today. We'll finish this next time, and then we're going to get into graphing a little bit next time.